Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. Sorry for the delay over the last couple days, but I've been busy with other stuff. Haven't had a chance to sit down and do more Factorio videos. So I'll try to make sure I get a few more in the bank this weekend. Anyway, got a few things to work on today. First of all, I wanted to address the fuel or the train refueling situation. You may remember that we talked previously about the fact that I'm changing to a 1-2-1-2-1-2-1-2 train configuration, and that could cause issues with my train refueling station, which with TSM would have the same name as the refueling stations that I have for the 4-8 trains. Right, so we needed some way to control which refueling station the trains go to depending on how they're laid out. And fortunately, the author of the mod is on our Discord channel, and asked him about it, and he was kind enough to actually update his mod to allow us a way to detect different train configurations. So part of the mod, and I haven't used it yet, but part of the mod includes this thing called a train configuration reader. And what this does is when a train stops at a station, it will output the number of engines and number of cargo wagons by default. Let's see if this works if I put it right here. I think it only works for fuel stops, and there's nothing at the fuel stop right now. But let me see if I can show you how this works. So in the TSM, no, it's not there, is it? Well, anyway, it'll give you a signal of engines and cargo wagons by default. And then what he recently added was another signal, which is this one, this train with the 2 on it. And this will tell us the position of the second locomotive in the train that is stopped at the refueling station. So what that'll do is, for example, if a 4-8 train stops here, it will output a 2 because the second locomotive will be in the second position. So with that information, we can, for example, I can tell this inserter and this inserter only to activate when that signal is equal to 2. Okay. The first inserter will activate always because both configurations have a locomotive in the front. But then my other configuration, here we can see it. There, you see that? 8, 4, and 2. Good. That was perfect timing. So that way, when a 4-8 train comes in, these 4 inserters will be active, right? These 2 will turn on. This one and this one will always be on because if I have 1, 2, 1, 2, then this 4th position should always get fuel. And that way we won't load fuel into cargo wagons when it's not necessary. Okay, so these 2 will only turn on if it's equal to 2, otherwise they'll stay turned off. And then these other 2 down here, I set so that they'll turn on if it's equal to 4, because if I have 1 and then cargo wagon 4, that means that the second locomotive would be in position 4 rather than position 2. So in that case, I'll turn on this inserter and I'll turn on that inserter. Okay, so I've reconfigured both of the refueling stations with that logic, and I'll also set up at some point a refueling station in the other grid so that the trains don't all have to travel over here. But in the meantime, we can use this station for refueling until that's set up. And then this station for the 1-1 train, I really didn't have to do anything because if it's a 1-1 train, there's going to be a locomotive here and cargo here. So there's nothing to turn off, and then this one again would always turn on even if a 1-1 train stops. So the 1-1 train loader is or refueler is fine. Okay, so thanks a lot for helping us with that, Lord Kator. Appreciate that very much. That will be very useful. Okay, now I want to continue working on our uranium processing and fuel production. I got some good feedback from viewers pointing out issues that I have to fix. So thank you very much for that. Well, one of those issues I've already addressed. I'll show you what I did. And then the other one we'll have to fix today. Once we get there. Okay. So first thing, at the beginning of one of the previous episodes, I said that I was going to double the amount of uranium processing and Coverx enrichment over what the calculator said that I need, because I want to make sure that I'm making not only enough for the reactors, for the uranium fuel cells, but I also need to make more uranium-235 for the train fuel. So I took what we did last time and I just made a second copy of it. And then I expanded the output from the mining to take up 2 belts. We can actually fit another mining drill right there. That'll give us a little more output. Let's put one there. And it's pretty much completely covered at this point. Okay, so I'm feeding in 2 belts of uranium. We've got the logic control. Now, one thing I had to change, because someone very correctly pointed out that if I turn off uranium processing because my storage is full, then that would have meant that I wouldn't have any more uranium-238 coming up this belt, and then my Coverx enrichment would starve of uranium-238, even if I wanted that to continue. Now, that wasn't a problem with my previous setup, because in the previous setup, I do the processing into storage, and then from storage into enrichment, and then I bring the uranium-235 back to storage. And in this case, I put the storage after the enrichment. Sorry about that. I still have when I talk, my throat itches a little bit. So that's why I keep having to cough a little bit like that. So I would either have to move Coverx enrichment past the storage and bring uranium-235 back into it, or just do what I did in this case, which is to take uranium-238 out of storage and feed that back into the Coverx enrichment process. So that way we'll always have 238 available so that this can run whenever it wants to. Okay, so that problem's been fixed. We're currently at a ratio of 21 now, so we're getting close to the point where we can turn this off. Now, the other problem that was pointed out is that my top row of beacons are not touching these machines. So that's a problem that I do need to fix. I haven't fixed yet. To do that, I'm going to have to relocate the power, right? Because, well, let me see. No, I don't think I do. All right. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to work. I need that extra space there. Whoops. What the heck just happened? Oh. I have to fix my stack size again. Crud. Oh, okay. So let's see if it works if I fix the stack size. Okay, there we go. All right. So yeah, so I can remove that. And that means I can move this down so I can make room to move things down a tile. Okay, so let's use picker. I'm going to shift down, shift and down. And I'll do that for all of these. Oh. Ah, we have to do this one too. There we go. Actually, I won't need that one. Okay, and then here I need to move everything down by one tile. All right, let's start with this. All right. This would probably be a lot easier if I just picked everything up and rebuilt it with the bots. I don't know why I'm going through such pains here. Okay. That's still not right. Alright, yeah, all this has to move down too. No, not you. That. And that. Okay, are we good now? I think so. Okay, so let's put that in there. We'll put that in there. All right. And then I just have to fix this. There we go. And now we should be all set. No, that's not really necessary, is it? If we pull from the top, that'll get it from all the chests. Okay, let's check the contents. Now some of these machines need to be preloaded again. All right, that one's got 80, that one's got 78, so another 2 cycles and that one will be good. That's just because I let a bunch of the uranium escape. Okay, good. Okay, so now we should be all set. Okay, very good. So I think we're all set with this part. Uranium processing and Covarex enrichment. Yeah, ratio's down to 19 now. So, and again, once that reaches 13, then I'll stop enrichment until it falls, or until it rises above that ratio again. But this should provide us with more than enough. Okay, so this one is, we're only lacking iron to make the nuclear fuel cells. So what we can do, I've got iron mining already, so what we can do is we'll set up one of our first iron smelting areas fairly soon, which will be either this one or this one. And that way we'll have iron plate available to bring over here. And then the other thing that we need to do in order to make the train fuel is we will need rocket fuel plus uranium. And the rocket fuel comes from solid fuel and light oil. So we have a couple options there. One option is to bring light oil over here. You know, I mean, well, one option would be to bring rocket fuel, but it's going to be a long time before I get to the point where I'm making rocket fuel over here in the new part of the base, since that's, you know, one of the higher tiers of production. Light oil, if we brought in light oil, well, yeah, if we bring in light oil, then we're going to have to wait until we have refineries. So I thought maybe a good way to do it over here would be to use coal liquefaction to make the oil and the solid fuel that we need to make the rocket fuel to turn into train fuel. Because to get coal, all I need to do is set up a single coal mine somewhere, which we're going to have to do anyway, and bring that in by train. Now there's even some coal right here, but I don't want to use that because this grid square is probably going to be needed for some production at some point. all the extraction of raw materials I want to do outside of the grid. Obviously with the exception of this one, because it just so happened that I have uranium here in the grid cell. But we can bring in on one of these belts, let's see, this one's iron. I would need to set up another train station, wouldn't I? I could set up another input station to bring in coal, and then we can use that to to do coal liquefaction to make the rocket fuel that we need for the train fuel. So let's work on setting that up. So I'm going to copy, pardon me, I'm going to copy this. And then we'll have to remove that return rail. Okay, and let's do that. Okay. And actually, let's go and set this up as a requester station. It's going to have to be one anyway. This will need to be a requester stop. These all will need to be a requester stop. So these are all going to be requesting from depots. Oh, rocket fuel. All right, so maybe I don't need this one. All right, but then in that case, I will make this my passenger station. I'm going to remove the passenger stations from the old grid because I don't expect that I'm going to be using those very often. Okay. All right, so then here, rather than bringing in rocket fuel, we'll use that to bring in coal. Okay, so the iron is here, or at least it should be. Maybe I got that wrong. Oh, okay. No, the iron goes here. This would be the coal. Okay, so maybe we can do the coal liquefaction over here. Now here's the thing. I don't know how much nuclear fuel we're using. So let's see if we can figure that out. Let's look at the last 10 hours. Okay, and we're using 3.7 a minute right now on the original base. So if we quadruple that, let's just make it 16 a minute. And let's get that planned out. And let me update this to reflect what we're actually producing. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 10 machines and 4 machines. So here on the uranium processing, I have 10. And on here, I have 4. Right? So that means we're overproducing. It's showing me a byproduct of uranium-238. It's not showing me a byproduct of 235. I don't know why it doesn't show that as a byproduct. All right, let's just let's just do it. Let's just figure it out manually. All right, so 2 of these. Yeah, see, you can't use this. I just need the net. Oh, maybe I can get the net. Let's see. Items per minute. Okay, yeah, inputs 536 and outputs are 552. Okay, so that means with the 2 extra machines, I'm getting 552 per minute minus the 536 per minute. So I'm getting 16 per minute. 16 pieces of uranium per minute. And the amount that I need, I think, was also 16 per minute, right? I think that's what we said. Yeah, 4 times 4, 16 a minute. Okay, so that lines up perfectly. So we just need to figure out how to make 16 rocket fuel per minute. Let's load up these with speed modules. What's the cycle time on that? $90. Okay, so let's also surround those with beacons. All right, so 3 machines exactly. And then on the rocket fuel, we'll use productivity modules and beacons. So for the rocket fuel, we can get by with a single machine. And then solid fuel. Solid fuel I will be making from light oil and petroleum. So let's add light oil from cracking as well. Or let's add light oil from cracking first. And then add heavy oil from liquefaction. I'm confused, guys. I don't know how to make this work when you have multiple inputs and outputs and they all feed into each other, and outputs are also ingredients. Right, so I can make solid fuel from petroleum. And I can also make solid fuel from light oil. Okay. Now I'm only going to be getting 23.4 Well, I'm going to get 23.4 petroleum from the refinery. Okay, so this, yeah, so this I only need enough to consume the 23.4, which is not even one machine. Let's get rid of these beacons. 5.3, and what if I limit that to a single machine? I'll still consume more than what I'm producing. Okay, so I'll have a single machine making solid fuel from petroleum that we get. All the heavy oil, or all the leftover heavy oil, I'm going to crack into light oil. So I'm going to have 46.8 plus 114 light oil coming out of this. Here, let's module this up. And let's module this up. And then maybe this one we want to put some beacons around. Yeah, so it looks like a single machine of each type is going to be more than enough. Now what about steam? Okay. And I'm also going to need water, which I didn't think of. Okay, I'll just pipe water. That way I don't have to bring in yet another train. Okay, so it looks like if I have one refinery and then one chemical plant for each of these other processes, I'm going to make more than enough rocket fuel. Okay, so let's start to build that. For refinery, I'm going to need 10 stone brick. Do I have a mining drill? Yes, I do. Okay, we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. Oh. I need fuel. What was it, 3 chemical plants? Yep. And then 3 centrifuges. There we go. And then we're going to need a few barrels of heavy oil to get the process started. So let me go get that. I'm going to also need to make a furnace, or a boiler, rather. Yeah, I think that's all I need. Okay, and I have some heavy oil down here. Albeit a very small amount. Okay, thank you very much. And then just to test it while things work, I'll throw a few mining drills over here just so that we can get some coal traveling up there, just to make sure the process works. So just temporarily, I'll set up a few mining drills there until I get a proper coal mine set up somewhere else. Where would be a good one? This is a good one right here. We'll call that A. Because I'm planning... I haven't located my coal and stone depots yet, but since I don't need it until we get to this upper half of the base, I wanted to have it somewhere around here anyway, off to the side. Not all the way down here at the bottom, but off to the sides, close to the center. So that one will be in a good position for that. All right. So just about a dozen mining drills should be more than enough to do what we need for now. We don't even need a full belt of it. There. Okay. So we'll have... Actually, let's stop that here. I don't think the coal needs to go all the way up there. I'll do this over here. All right. Coal liquefaction. Okay, and then I can connect the boiler directly. Heavy oil needs to feed back in. Okay, that's getting productivity modules. And then here we need water. Let me cut a little path through the trees here. How far do I need to go? Oh, pretty far. Everybody felt that we should keep the trees wherever possible, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll remove trees when they're in my way, but if they're not in my way, then I will let them stay where they are to help beautify the base. Okay, now I need one offshore pump. Got new graphics for those now. Okay, and there's our water. Okay, and let's see, I had 12 beacons on this solid fuel. How much solid fuel do I actually need? 114. Okay. So I don't think I need 12 beacons. Let's see what 3 gives us. 3 is not enough. All right, 4 beacons. then we need to feed it our heavy oil to get things kicked off. So let's set the unbarreling recipe. Okay, and that should do it. And after this, it will make more than enough heavy oil to keep it fed. And I think what I'm going to do is okay. Let's see here. Or maybe what I should do is put the pump. I'll just put the pump there. That way it pretty much guarantees that it'll fill this pipe before anything else goes past. Okay, and then we go heavy to light cracking, single machine. So then we don't need that pump after all. Okay. There. Now we make sure the machine gets fed and the excess can go up there. Okay. All right. So now we're dealing with the heavy oil, turning it into light oil. Light oil should go into solid fuel. And petroleum should go into solid fuel. Okay. One, two, three. There. Okay, the light oil to solid fuel gets productivity and 4 beacons. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one will get 4 beacons too, even though it doesn't really need it. Let's see, and how many belts of solid fuel do I need? All right, far less than a full belt, so that's no problem. Okay. Oh, and then this gets productivity modules too. Let me grab some more prod modules. We can simplify this a bit. Okay. All right, and then the solid fuel turns into rocket fuel with a single machine that is going to get 12 beacons. Oops. Okay, and that will also need light oil. And I'll just feed the solid fuel up like that. Can come out there. Okay, and then we need 3 centrifuges with 12 beacons each. So let me just copy this. And those are going to have speed modules, so I'll just take out everything except the centrifuges and the beacons. All right, and these will be making nuclear fuel. All right, and just to confirm, yeah, they can't take productivity modules. Okay, and then these will need uranium also. We can take care of that with a single filter inserter. Okay. Actually, let's... Well, yeah, that's fine, because... Is that close to the center? No, not really. Okay, no, that's fine. We'll leave it like that for now. Okay, let's throw in some lights. I guess I'll put them on this side. And a few lights down here. Okay, that one needs modules. Alright, I think that's it. Let's just double check. So, one boiler, one refinery, one petroleum to solid fuel, one light oil to solid fuel. Okay, we've got all that covered. This should now be running nonstop. And it doesn't need any beacons. Right? Okay, that goes into a single machine making rocket fuel, which doesn't need 12 beacons, does it? Eight is not quite enough. It needs 9 beacons. Okay, so I got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Yeah, the petroleum is not working nearly full time because it's getting a speed boost when it doesn't really need it. This one should be working nearly full time. Yeah, because this is loaded 93%. And my cracking should only be working 17.8% of the time. Okay. I think that's it. Okay. I think the only other thing I'm lacking is the nuclear fuel reprocessing. And for that, let's load those up with beacons. I need 202. Right, so we're just going to play with the limit until I'm using 202 spent cells. Right, 5 will give me 200. Jeez, what the hell? Five 5.1 is 2.4. 5.05. Okay, so I need 6. So there's 3 and 6. And those can't take productivity. Okay. So then in this case, we'll have the spent cells coming down from above. And then let's make it symmetrical. And then the uranium-238 coming out like that. And then we can bring it over here so that it all goes onto the appropriate side of the belt. Okay. So I'll put a combinator here just to remind us that this is where the spent fuel cells are going to be coming in from up above. This is where the unspent cells will be coming out. Actually, let's, yeah, we need to get some lights in here. Did I not put any lights here? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so the center is right here, about where that power pole is. Here, I know what I can do. Yeah, this is actually going to be going the other way. Okay. So I think we're pretty much done with the nuclear processing. Over here in grid cell A8. All right, so what's remaining to do then is to set up refueling stations, right? So the train fuel we're actually not going to export. I could set up my refueling stations up here. Actually, I'll do a single refueling station because I'm going to have a stacker over on this side. Let's see. Yeah, that's about the middle. Input stacker. I need the output stacker. There we go. It's going to go right there. where do I have two outputs? Over here. Okay. So one of these, and let's copy the other end of that as well. Where was it? Was it this? Yeah. Okay, so one of these will be a refueling station. Since I have a stacker before, I don't think I need to set up two refueling stations like I did down here, right? I did that here because there's no stacker. But here, since I do have a stacker, I think I can get away with having a single refueling station. And then the other station will be, it'll be a 1-1 train for the nuclear fuel, like I'm doing down here. So we'll load fuel and unload spent fuel as part of the same train. Okay, so we're already over time. I'll set that up next time or in a future episode. In the meantime, what I will do is I will set up a single, well, I need to set up a depot for iron ore. I'll set up a depot for coal as well as my coal mine, and I'll get those running. And then we'll set up a single iron smelter to feed iron here. And then at that point, we'll be all set up to where we can build power plants. Now, one thing I suppose I need to do is I need to finish planning the rest of the grid, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to put all the nuclear reactors inside the grid, if at all possible. But I won't know if I can do that until I get the rest of the grid laid out, because I won't know if I have enough empty grid spaces for nuclear reactors. And we're going to need 672 reactors. Each grid can hold 8 times 6, 48. So 672 divided by 48. So I need 14 grid squares for nuclear power. So we'll have to see if we can make that work. All right. Well, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.